Everyone thought it would be the wedding of the year, elegant, exclusive, and perfectly curated. But behind the filtered photos and flawless captions was a story no one saw coming. I wasn't just cut from the guest list, I was erased. Not for something I did, but because I didn't fit the image they wanted to sell. What they didn't expect was that removing me would unravel everything. This isn't just about a wedding. It's about what happens when silence finally speaks. It started with a text. Let's take a little break from the chaos of life. Grab a cozy drink, find a quiet corner, and type 1 if you're staying with us. Not a phone call, not a sit-down conversation, just a short message sent while I was standing by my kitchen sink, rinsing dirt from my hands after tending to my herb garden. The sunlight was warm through the window, and for a fleeting second, I thought maybe Callista was texting something sweet. A meme, a question about the lavender I'd promised for her centerpieces, but instead, I read, "Hey, just wanted to let you know the guest list is finalized. Had to make some tough cuts. Hope you understand. Love you." My heart sank. Tough cuts? I wasn't her coworker or a distant acquaintance. I was her sister, her only sister. And yet, somehow I had become an afterthought in her vision of a flawless wedding. My first instinct was denial. Maybe it was sent to the wrong person, but my name was clearly there. I set the phone down, face first on the counter like it had insulted me. Looking back, I should have seen it coming. The signs were there. There was the email she sent about the bridesmaid style guide, with its glossy Pinterest board tone. Classy and cohesive. No denim, no boots, no country prints. Let's keep things modern and Malibu. Modern and Malibu? I was Waco. I was sundresses and soft calluses, not designer heels and blowouts. But I stayed quiet. I told myself it wasn't worth making a fuss. I'd laughed at her jokes about farm girl glam and nodded when she asked me to tone it down for the rehearsal dinner. Still, I never thought she'd cut me out completely. The hardest part wasn't the exclusion, it was knowing that they had planned it all behind my back. That my own mother had been in on it. That the $40,000 I'd quietly invested into her big day, money that helped secure the venue, the catering, even her custom dress, was spent without a single word of thanks or acknowledgement. No call, no apology, just a curated caption. So grateful to Cassian's family for making our dream wedding possible. And I had become invisible in the very event I helped build. But even then, I didn't lash out. Not yet. I tried to reason with myself. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe they'd circle back, realize what they'd done. But the silence stretched. No one came forward, no one tried to make it right. And that's when the truth settled in. Not only was I not wanted, I had never really been part of their perfect picture in the first place. I wasn't cut because there wasn't space. I was cut because I didn't fit their brand. And once I understood that, something in me began to shift. It wasn't anger at first. It was something quieter, heavier, a kind of stillness that settled in my chest, like packed soil, solid, unmoving. I moved through the next few days in a daze, almost like I was underwater. I kept waiting for someone, Callista, my mom, anyone, to break the silence. Maybe a text. A half-hearted joke to smooth things over, a breadcrumb of an apology wrapped in excuses. But nothing came. Instead, I watched from the sidelines as their picture-perfect narrative unfolded online. Callista's bridal shower was tagged in white hydrangeas and champagne smiles. Every caption overflowed with gratitude toward Cassian's family, his mother's floral boutique, his sister's event planning team, his father's country club. I was nowhere, not even a footnote. I stared at the screen until my eyes blurred, scrolling through comments like, "You're glowing!" and "Cassian's family is goals." The words didn't sting, they calcified. I wasn't just excluded, I was erased. That night, I sat alone in the kitchen, barefoot in front of the fridge, eating cold peach pie straight from the tin. I wasn't thinking about the wedding anymore. I was thinking about every time I'd shown up without being asked, every crisis I'd helped carry, every bill I'd paid quietly and without credit because that's what sisters do, or so I thought. Then the moment came, the one that burned the last thread of denial. A message popped up from Odessa, our cousin and Callista's longtime friend. She'd always tried to stay neutral, but even she couldn't hide her discomfort. "OMG, I'm so sorry," she wrote. "Meant to send this to Lisa. Please ignore." But below that was a screenshot. I opened it. It was from their wedding group chat. Callista's message was right there. "My sister is sweet but totally off-brand. Can we just keep it tight? Cassian doesn't even want her there." And beneath that, my mother's reply. "Let's keep it small. No need to explain everything to her." That was it. No confusion, No miscommunication, no room for excuses. It was a plan, a quiet, calculated decision to push me out while keeping my support intact, to use what I could give, but erase who I was. I didn't cry, I didn't throw things. I just sat there, the phone in my lap, staring out the kitchen window as the rosemary swayed in the breeze, and I whispered the only words I could find. She really erased me. There's a betrayal that doesn't come with shouting or slammed doors. It arrives softly, in polite tones, in curated captions, in messages never meant for your eyes, and it hurts worse. But it also brings clarity. That night, something in me quietly, irrevocably snapped, not in rage, but in resolution. I was done begging for space in a story I helped build. I was done softening my voice just to be tolerated. They had made their choice. Now, it was time for me to make mine. The screenshot from Odessa still sat on my phone like a confession no one meant me to find. I stared at it for a long time, not because I needed more proof, but because it validated everything I'd been feeling for weeks. I wasn't imagining things. I wasn't too sensitive. Gwen. I was being edited out of my own family, slowly and carefully, like a smudge someone wanted to erase from a perfect canvas. And I'd let them, because I kept telling myself that being family meant staying, sacrificing, understanding. But now, I was done confusing loyalty with self-abandonment. The next morning, I stood in the kitchen, staring at the final installment of the payment I'd scheduled for Callista's florist. It was due in 2 days. My finger hovered over the cancel payment button on the app. I didn't press it, not yet. But for the first time, I genuinely wanted to. Not to punish them, but to protect what little I had left of myself. Because suddenly, it wasn't just about a wedding. It was about how easy it had been for them to write me out of the story and still expect me to pay for the ending. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the slow spin of the ceiling fan, feeling every yes I'd ever said to keep the peace echo through me like ghosts. Peace. That word had become a curse. Peace meant silence. Peace meant swallowing my pain so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Peace meant smiling while they dismantled my place in their world. But I wasn't at peace. I was at war with my own willingness to disappear. A few days later, I walked out to the edge of my property. The sky was painted in soft pinks and golds. The air smelled like lemon balm and earth. It was the kind of evening that almost made you believe in grace again. And maybe that's what I needed. Grace. Not for them, but for myself. I opened my laptop. Slowly, deliberately, I pulled up every vendor contract tied to Callista's wedding. The venue, the caterer, the floral design, the photography. Each one booked under my name, funded by my savings, my hours, my belief in a version of sisterhood that no longer existed. And one by one, I began the process of undoing it all. Venue, terminated. Florist, refunded. Caterer, canceled, with a penalty. Photography, withdrawn, deposit forfeited. It took me 23 minutes to erase $40,000 of blind loyalty. And when I closed my laptop, I didn't feel guilt. I felt clean. I poured myself a glass of wine and opened my email. The message I typed was short, factual, emotionless. To Callista, Cassian, and Delora. Subject: change of plans. Please update your financials. I have removed myself from all remaining wedding contracts, effective immediately. You wanted me out. Consider it official. I hit send. No warmth, no anger, just truth. And then, for the first time in weeks, I booked something for myself. A real vacation. Puerto Rico, ocean view suite, adults only. Zero family drama. They thought my silence was surrender. But this was war, and I had just made my first move. The airport was unusually quiet, filled with the low hum of suitcase wheels and soft announcements echoing overhead. I moved through it in a kind of calm I hadn't felt in months, one born not from peace, but from decision. I had one suitcase, light, a few linen dresses, a worn paperback, and a swimsuit I hadn't used in years. I brought no family photos, no just-in-case keepsakes. I wasn't running away, I was walking forward, toward something that finally felt like mine. When I reached the lounge, I ordered a mimosa and found a seat by the window. I exhaled and sank into the silence. For once, no one needed anything from me, and I didn't need to explain myself. Then just before boarding, my phone buzzed. Odessa. The message preview read, "You're not going to believe what just happened." I opened it and saw a voice memo. I hesitated, then hit play. Her voice was low, urgent. Aylin, he walked out. Cassian, during the reception. They were arguing behind the scenes, and then he just left. Gone. I blinked, stunned. She kept going. The DJ stopped playing. Everyone was whispering. Your mom tried to keep the program going, but it was unraveling. Grandma cried. It's bad, Aylin, really bad. I leaned back, phone in my hand, heart strangely still. Cassian had walked out of his own wedding. And my first reaction wasn't joy. It wasn't revenge. It was a strange kind of disbelief, like watching a house collapse in slow motion after you'd already moved out. Then came the texts. From Delora. This is not the time to be petty. Callista needs you. From Callista. Where are you? He's gone. Please, I need you. And then Odessa again. They're trying to spin it like it's your fault, saying if you'd been there, maybe it wouldn't have happened. I set the phone down gently, like it might crack under the weight of it all. So now I was the villain and the missing piece? I stepped out onto the balcony. The sea shimmered beneath a sky that didn't care what mess was unfolding back in California. I took a photo, my mimosa glass sweating in the golden light, and posted it to my story with a single caption. Cut from the guest list, somehow still the headline act. No emojis, no filter. Let them see what it felt like to be written off and then summoned like a fire extinguisher after the flames caught. I whispered to no one, but maybe to the broken girl I'd been just weeks ago. Not my circus, not my shame. And I meant it. They had chosen their narrative, one without me in it, and now that it was burning to the ground, they wanted me to come rescue it. But I was already gone. Gone, not in bitterness, but in clarity. And the view from here, it looked nothing like their wedding. It looked like peace. The mornings in Puerto Rico became sacred. I'd sit on the balcony, coffee in hand, watching the sea breathe in soft, steady rhythms, like it was teaching me how to do the same. No alarms, no group chats, no one asking me to shrink or shift to make room for their comfort. The silence wasn't cold, it was healing. For the first time in years, I wasn't being asked to hold a broken family together with invisible glue. I hadn't checked my email, I hadn't scrolled through Instagram, I wasn't watching from the sidelines anymore. I had left the stadium entirely. But one afternoon, my phone lit up. Odessa again. She'd been my only thread to the chaos unraveling back home, and she never reached out unless it mattered. She sent a photo, creased paper, the kind folded too many times, like it had been carried close to someone's heart. The caption read, "From Grandma, she asked me to send this to you." I opened the image, and there it was. My grandmother's delicate, looping handwriting. Aylin, you were right to walk. They will learn in your silence what they ignored in your words. But forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. So your soul can rest and keep growing. I see you, I always have. Love, Grandma Agatha. I read it once, then again. The tears came slowly. No sobbing, no heaving. Just a soft, steady release. Because finally someone had seen me. Not the version they curated, not the one they used when convenient, but me. Fully, quietly, truthfully. The next morning, a notification popped up on my screen. Time to check in for your return flight. But I didn't move. I just stared at it, completely still. I wasn't scared to go back. I just no longer felt like I belonged to the place I was supposed to return to. So I didn't. Instead, I opened the travel app and extended my stay. Not to run away, but to stand still long enough to let something new take root. That evening, I joined a small bonfire gathering on the beach. We didn't talk about weddings or family drama. We talked about books, music, and how plantains are better fried than baked. No one asked, "Where are you from?" Instead, someone asked, "Who are you becoming?" And for the first time, I didn't flinch. I answered, "Someone who finally stopped apologizing for being real." Later that night, I posted one final photo. Not of the mess, not of the heartbreak, but of the light. The caption read, "There isn't one, because this time, I'm not going back. I'm writing something new." And just like that, the story I never meant to tell had found its ending. But I was only just beginning, because walking away from the people you love, especially family, hurts. But sometimes it's the first act of real love you ever show yourself. And from here, under this sky, with the waves whispering truth back to me, I knew. They burned the bridge. I just made sure it stayed down.